So I just started my job. My new job this week is a sushi chef at a major corporate restaurant that's worldwide. I don't know even know how many dozens of them in the United States. If I told you the name, you'd probably mention it. If you guessed, you'd probably be right. But where it's at is not important. Only in contents of the story. Well, first day was cool. Uh, Easy fucking job. I'm used to working a lot harder, but I'm also used to getting paid more. It's kind of a trade-off. Pay is decent, but it's on the lower end of the sushi spectrum, especially for someone with my experience. So, yeah, but being corporate, they don't care if it's slow. You don't get sent home. You stay, you know. And the chefs have figured out a way to work just fast enough as possible for so long that they think that that's the normal speed. And I've actually been told to slow down because I'm going too fast. And the other chefs, although they're less experienced, and some of them are just slowed anyway, which is not doesn't mean they're retarded. They're just not as experienced. Even the experienced ones are like, dude, this is not where you used to work. If you work this hard and you do it this fast, we're all going to be expected to. I was like, okay, cool. So that's kind of cool. So it's a pretty lax job for being a sushi chef. Being corporate, they have the buying power. Most of the prep work is already done. I don't have to make sauces, which is a major pain in the ass because you have to make them from scratch. Ingredients on a basis, which is a pain in the ass. Here they're all made in gallon containers. You just got to pour them in smaller containers. That's basically it, with few exceptions. And the fish, I'm used to getting whole fishes. I mean they're usually cleaned like gutted, but that's pretty much it. Here, they're skinned. Well, the ones that are should be skinless, but they're also filleted and then they're frozen and they're vacuum sealed. So it's basically like you thaw them out, overnight for the fish you're gonna eat the next day. But it's pretty much done with just a little trimming and stuff like that. Anyway, it's an easy job. Well, I got hired, and during my second interview, before I actually officially got hired, before my orientation, before I signed anything like that, I had told the general manager, I gave him in writing the days that I would need off for the month of October. I'm going to Long Beach. Well, I'm seeing Ghost BC here in San Diego, or Ghost, now they go by. Here in San Diego, I'm going to need that night off, which is the 30th. Going to need the 31st off Halloween because Vital Remains is playing at a small club in Long Beach called D Piazza. So if you guys are in the LA area, you should hit that up because that show is definitely going to sell out. Going there to hang out, watch a show. Brian Weirner is a friend of mine, also a member of Satanic International. Singer of Vital Remains, great guy. Going to go to show support and to promote Sin. Anyway, that whole weekend I'm doing shit, basically. And I was like, I told him in writing before I got hired, and he didn't seem like it was a big concern. Well, when my first day, I mentioned it to my immediate supervisor. That was the GM, my immediate supervisor. Hey, you knew where I need the, Halloween weekend off, right? He's like, yeah, I saw that, but today was the first time I'd ever heard of it. And I said, oh, well, I submitted this paper, to the GM a week ago before I even actually started. He's like, well, you're not really off to a good start here. You're requesting time off. You're new, blah, blah, blah. And he kind of left me with like, basically kind of like, well, I'll see what I can do, and that wasn't going to fly for me. I just ended it there. I didn't speak to him about it anymore because, obviously he didn't want to give me the time off. So I went above his head and I went back to the guy, the GM that I originally submitted the time off that I needed before I got hired, mind you. And I emailed him and told him what was up. And I said, this wasn't a scheduled request. This is time that I need off. I wouldn't have accepted employment or I would have changed my start date if this wasn't going to work for you guys. So I'm here. I quit my other job. I'm here. I need this time off. You knew about this. And I also mentioned that my immediate supervisor, was unhappy and mentioned that I was off to a bad start. So I show up to work today, right? This is the next day that I've worked since I sent that email. All of a sudden, I can't punch in you know, and it's like, try to punch in, red light comes up and says, you know, manager needs to punch you in, blah, blah, blah. Manager comes, different manager than these two clowns, punches me in and he goes, oh, it's because Scott, and Scott's my immediate manager, sushi guy manager, who does the scheduling. He's like, oh, Scott says here that not to let you leave until he talks to you. Like, oh, so I'm thinking about that fucking email, right? Or the email that I sent to his boss, the GM. And so I'm like kind of stressing a little bit, you know, I'm gonna figure like have the talk about, you know, chain of command and yeah, corporate. Um, but yeah. So after my shift was done, I go and I talk to Scott. Actually, Scott came and got me towards the end of my shift. He knew what time I was getting out. And go into the office, and the GM and my immediate manager Scott were there. I have a seat, sat down. I'm, you know, preparing to have them tell me, you know, shit that I don't want to know or hear. But instead, they fucking pulled a quick one over. They're like, hey, we wanted to question you about an incident you witnessed the other day. I was like, sure. Like, yeah, you know that guy Juan you're working with? Apparently, he made a vulgar and inappropriate comment and gesture towards a waitress in your presence. We want to know what you observed and saw about that. And mind you, Juan did. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but you know, corporate, there's zero tolerance for sexual harassment. And apparently, Juan has done this before, making inappropriate sexual comments and gestures. You know, not actually touching anybody. Either way, it's sexual harassment. It is. No doubt about it. Especially by corporate standards. Well, I did witness it. I did see it. I didn't say shit. It's not my business. You know, it's my first day, and this is a guy that I got to work with behind the sushi bar. You know, whatever. You know, it's not my problem, basically. And what he did wasn't that big of a deal. He said something in Spanish that I didn't quite catch. And then he goes like this, like that. So, yeah, kind of inappropriate. You know, whatever. Well, you know, I don't want to start any trouble. I don't know this guy Juan. I know that I got to work with them, right? And this waitress, I have no real work relationship with her because I'm a sushi chef, right? We're our own little entity there. And this guy, I got to work with shoulder to shoulder 5 days a week. So, based on not knowing anybody that serious, I was just like, I didn't see anything. And then they're like, you sure? Because she said you were standing right there. I said, well, who's this she? They like said her name. I'm like, I don't even know who that person is. You know, I was on my first day. I barely even know the people that I work with immediately. They're like, well, you know, if you're afraid to say what you witnessed, we'll assure you that there will be no hostile work environment. And if there is any hostile work environment based under blah, 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 we can have you immediately transferred to another store anywhere in the country with the same pay doing the same job. Should you find that, you know, you whistleblowing on Juan causes problems with the other employees. But rest assured, none of the other employees are going to know. We're just going to fire Juan if you say that you witnessed that. Again, I don't want to throw the homeboy under the bus. Did he do it? Absolutely. But that's really not my, you know, one, I'm not a snitch. Two, it was fucked up for him, you know, but the fact that she reported it, even if he doesn't get fired, he's in a world of shit. Now they're looking for a reason to fire him. So I'm not going to be the one to fucking, you know, the final straw. I don't want that on my fucking, not only on my conscience, but, you know, if it's bullshit, people are going to fucking know, wait a minute, this guy starts and the very next day Juan is fired. And you know, this waitress is fucking gossipy all around the fucking restaurant about Juan. So it's not hard to put two and two together. And she probably mentioned that I was witnessing it. So if one gets fired, everybody's going to know that I said something. So basically, I just said, no. And then they finally said, look, you know, you had mentioned that you asked about transferring, you know, and that you were planning on living in San Diego forever. You know, this might be a good opportunity. You know, should you find that, you know, people find out, you know, blah, blah, blah. Plus, you know, we'll give you $100 bonus for being honest. And now I'm thinking, like, okay, this is fucked because they really want this fucking guy. Like $100 bonus to snitch on this guy. No, I basically told them the same thing. They said to be honest, and that means that they know he did it, but for whatever reason, I need to be the one to say something. Yeah, I just said, look, I am being honest. You may have done it. I don't know. I didn't see it. I don't know. My first day. I was busy. I followed him around. He showed me shit where shit was and blah blah blah. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't see it. And they had me sign this piece of paper saying, okay. But they were like, are you sure? It's like, yeah, I'm sure. I didn't see shit. All right. I didn't see shit. So we'll see how that could come back to bite me in the sense where if they think that I'm lying and covering for this dude, which I hope they fucking don't. Because by no means is this dude my homie. But I'm not a snitch. I'm not, he didn't hurt the girl. He hurt her feelings. He butthurt her, whatever. It may have been inappropriate. So what? A lot of things are inappropriate. Is it right? No. Should he have done that? No. But whatever. I'm not going to be the one to get this guy fucking fired. No, not for $100. Not to transfer to another store, which I'll be eligible for after my probation period of 90 days. Anyway, no, and not not having to work in an environment where everybody thinks I'm a fucking snitch, and fuck that. Not gonna do it. So that's my story. I know it's not that funny, but whatever.